He'd resurrected this club from dire straits.
There's John Cahoon!
All of a sudden, with the kind of team that's come out of nowhere, and people wanted us to win it.
The bonding that was there will last forever.
This is my story. Big chance for Hearts. Well, how's this for a polished finish?
We drink as a team, we eat as a team, we have fun like a team, and we have certain occasions that we cry like a team.
But the boys in Maroon are the best in the land.
Everybody in professional sport wants to be first.
1 point and the title was Hearts.
While who way back in August, blessed with a second sight, the seventh son of a seventh son, could have foreseen Hearts on the very last day of the season playing for the championship, requiring only 1 point.
The final day of the 85-86 season. 1 miserly point. That's all Hearts need to become champions.
We were getting excited, there was no doubt about that. You know, the club hadn't won anything since the early 60s, and the players desperately wanted to be part of the side that brought the first silverware back to Gorgie Road.
We had a camaraderie that we thought would take us right through to the final day at Dens Park and then at Hampden to actually not just win 1 trophy, win 2 trophies.
Indeed, it wasn't just a championship at stake, it was a veritable silver rush. The major crown jewels of the Scottish game could be theirs on 2 glorious back-to-back Saturdays. It was in truth an incredible turnaround, because no one really expected Hearts to do anything that season. Especially, it seems, the BBC cameraman who missed John Colquhoun's opening day goal against Celtic. It was a changing picture in more ways than one. A 1-1 draw that day may have looked hopeful, but Hearts' next game against St Mirren saw them lose focus totally.
Great chance for Rooney. And that's the 6th.
A 6-2 drubbing was hardly inspiring, and Hearts' miserable start to the season saw them languishing third bottom of the table with only 5 points after 8 games. And with 2 points for a win in these days, climbing the table was going to be a hard task.
We had a shocking start to the season. People were talking about us being relegated rather than challenging for a spot in Europe, which was ultimately our aim.
But I remember sitting with my club secretary, having been beaten by Clydebank, I think, scratching my head at the end of the first quarter of the 85-86 season, saying to Les Porteous, what are we going to do here?
Good question. Hearts looked like they'd selected reverse gear instead of preparing for a championship race. They were a club who had been in serious decline since the 60s. Supporters had evaporated from Tynecastle's wide-open terraces, and funds were in equally short supply at the bank. And trophies? Relics of a bygone age. Relegated for the first time in their history in 1977, Hearts had then yo-yoed several times between Premier and First Divisions. It looked like the first throes of death. Then, in 1981, came the appearance of a shy and retiring Edinburgh businessman. Wallace Mercer bought a controlling stake in the club, but was shocked at the state of things at Tynecastle.
The club had yet again been relegated. They had gone through this yo-yo process, and the quality of the staff was pretty poor. Any players of any quality had left the club. So the whole business had to be built from the ground back up again. The club was within days of closure.
Heart of Midlothian avoided closing its doors, and Chairman Mercer embarked on a high-profile campaign to keep Hearts beating. But his 1981 survival plan didn't even hint that in just 4 years, this club would have Premier League titles in mind.
But our intention is to try and retain an element of full-time football at Tynecastle.
It was joked that Mercer carried a card in his person which read, "In event of an accident, call a press conference." But his business flair was a godsend for Hearts.
I think I brought some business expertise to the party and some marketing skills. And we decided that we would go public on a whole range of topics.
I think there was a press conference every second or third day at the football club because he wanted Hearts to be in everybody's minds.
The first step was to appoint club captain Alec MacDonald as player coach. MacDonald had joined from Rangers in 1980, only to find things drastically different from what he was used to at Ibrox. Not enough passion, too much fashion.
I just couldn't believe it. Our boys come in with bleached denims and string vests and It's unbelievable. When the wireless was gone, it was like a disco.
It was a very different type of Saturday night fever that MacDonald wanted at Hearts. He had brought from Ibrox the discipline that had helped him win a booty of medals at Rangers. And after being appointed Hearts manager in 1982, he also brought Sandy Jardine in from his old club as his assistant. Jardine, like MacDonald, had been a winner at Rangers, but he too soon realised he was now starring in a different kind of movie.
The Hearts were short of money, the physiotherapists had left, and there was not a physiotherapist there. So how do you treat injured players, I said. He says, well, Stuart McLaren, he knows how to work the ultrasonic machine, so Stuart could use it. So I went through and Stuart says, Stuart, you know how to? He says, aye. Where is it? Oh, Peter Shields got it. He's one of his greyhounds. He was treating one of his greyhounds. It was things like that. I mean, you couldn't believe it.
Proof, if proof were needed, that Hearts had gone to the dogs. And yet their pedigree was never in doubt. MacDonald and Jardine were slowly beginning to put together a team which would retrieve the fans. Alongside youngsters like John Robertson and Gary Mackay were the experienced club captain Walter Kidd and goalkeeper Henry Smith. Sandy Clark was signed from Rangers and Craig Levine came in from Cowdenbeath. Joining them were Kenny Black, Neil Berry, Brian Whittaker and Ian Jardine, before John Colquhoun completed the jigsaw by making the trip along the M8 from Celtic. The picture was taking shape, and what it showed was one big happy family.
It was a family club. People really would help each other. We didn't have much at all, but what we had we shared.
Everybody spoke to each other, everybody got on with each other. There wasn't anything you didn't know about anybody. And there was a real happy atmosphere there, and it's important in any football club. But at that time, you know, as I say, we had a monopoly on it.
Of course, there was still the little problem of the league position. You'll recall that they were sitting third bottom. But there was something stirring around Tynecastle. It all began with a draw against Dundee in October.
We went off from that match 1-1 thinking, well, you know, it's a point in the end. But again, not realising the implication that it was about to start one of the most exciting periods in the club's history.
Exciting? Hearts were rocket-fuelled. In 2 months, they went from third bottom to second top.
I think once we had our top team on the pitch, I think that's when we started to get the better run of results, and conferences grew and grew.
Not that anyone in TV land had noticed, with televised Hearts matches as rare as finding vinegar in an Edinburgh chippy. This yo-yo club, whose main ambition just 4 years before had been to keep playing full-time football, suddenly had ambitions of a loftier kind. Ambitions that had their foundation in good old-fashioned hard work.
Well, the fitness level wasn't very good. So when I took over, obviously the training started. We got the training better.
We'd go to Gullin for pre-season training on the sand dunes, which was really difficult.
Murder. Absolute murder. You are being sick and being sick again.
We did pre-seasons that made you sick and then made you sick on top of your sick.
All I kept shouting was, it's okay lads, your plate of soup's ready for you.
Christ, I feel sick in there myself.
You know, Hearts soon gained a reputation as being the fittest team in the league.
The pain of Gullin had worked, and Hearts were now rising from the ashes like a marooned phoenix who'd been forced to run up a sand dune countless times. On the 21st of December, a win over the St Mirren team, who had earlier whipped them 6-2, took Hearts to the top of the Premier League Christmas tree. It was an astonishing festive season in the East. A bright new star, a miracle rebirth, and wise men and women who knew their football were flocking to see the team.
So we were floating along, and the wee extra lift that the crowd give you as you're going to a game, it's a tremendous feeling. You're not going to get beat. You're not going to get beat. They score one, we'll score two.
We knew, come a Saturday, we could take anybody.
You know, we felt then that we could definitely qualify for Europe and perhaps push all the way for the title.
Push for it? They stormed its very ramparts. A win over first-footing Hibs launched the new year of 1986, and a victory over Rangers in the Scottish Cup third round followed. In the title hunt, Hearts stretched their unbeaten run to 20. Top of the table with 8 games to go, the moment was ripe to re-record an old Hearts classic, with a bit of a foul twist.
is down at Tynecastle wide. The talk of the town are the boys in Maroon, and old Ricky supports the White Pride.
It honestly was so funny, so bad is the only way to describe it. Not the song. The song in itself is brilliant. But Marshall's the funky chicken champions, I think, was the line.
But before we go any further, let's have a word from our sponsors.
Marshalls, the chunky chicken champions.
Every 2 minutes it'd go Marshalls, chunky chickens, Marshalls. And we weren't involved in that part of the Marshalls chunky chickens, but to be involved in that for somebody that was a Joy Division fan was just too embarrassing for words.
Marshalls, the chunky chicken champions.
I mean, there'd be this bonus depending on how many records we sold. We got a chicken each, and that was the reward. I should have got more than one chicken because I knew all the words. So I don't know if somebody along the line, maybe after witnessing this programme, somebody at Marshall's Chunky Chickens will give me the other 2 or 3 chickens that I think I'm due for how much I put into singing that song that day.
So there were records to be made and to be broken. A win over Hibs in March meant they had gone a record 22 undefeated Premier League games in a row. The title was within touching distance.
We all thought, oh, we could win this league and we could maybe win the cup as well, but we would never have discussed it.
I suppose it's tempting providence. You just didn't want to say it in case that you were the one by saying it and by hoping for it that broke the spell of the run that we were on.
Now Black. Pass for John Robertson, a great chance for Hearts. The opening goal.
Yet another win against Rangers in March set Hearts up for vital back-to-back matches against Dundee United. First up was the Scottish Cup semi-final. Hearts booked a Hampden final place courtesy of a John Colquhoun cracker before the two sides met again in the league.
The first game I really thought we were going to win the championship was when we beat Dundee United at Tannadice, with about 3 or 4 games to go. John Robertson and Sandy Clark were absolutely sensational.
Robertson with a shot, oh, what a goal!
And I've managed to connect with probably one of the sweetest left foots I've hit, and it just whistled in. But I think you can see from my expression afterwards, it's more a surprise to me as everybody else.
Well, he may blow his cheeks out. I mean, it looked harmless enough initially, but watch his positioning and how deadly he can be in the finish.
In what was a late season first versus second clash, Dundee United found Henry Smith in sparkling form.
Superb save!
Before Hearts pushed forward again to double their lead.
Here's a great chance, he scored! 2-0.
Then another piece of Robbo magic put the result beyond any doubt.
There's no onside, this could seal it. Robertson must score. He must, yes!
That third goal, we knew we'd won the match there and probably knocked Dundee United out of the title race. And again, you see with the celebrations, it was a team one. Everybody's round and huge heart support there, as I say, and we felt very, very close at that time.
And you're thinking to yourself, the double's on here. The double is on.
By now, Hearts were just 3 steps from championship heaven. Next up was Aberdeen, the first ever live televised Scottish League game. What's more, it was played on a Sunday. Something that didn't please the people at Tynecastle.
We wanted to keep the consistency of playing on a Saturday. And I remember that fixture vividly.
We felt it would put actually extra pressure on the players. So we didn't want the game to be live.
The Aberdeen game at Tynecastle had everything about it. It was the focus of attention all over Britain because Aberdeen were a hugely respected club under Alec Ferguson, great players on their side, and we were what you would term the young upstarts, and we went